And let's move on into the next topic, Dave. We're kind of looking at the same trade, but not really. We're looking at Carmelo Anthony now. Didn't really mention him in the first topic. And the main thing, we're kind of jumping the gun here because I know technically Carmelo hasn't signed anywhere as we're recording this on Friday evening, but everyone's been saying that he's been telling people that I am going to sign with the Rockets. So what we're going to look at, Dave, is I'll ask you, how does Carmelo Anthony fit with the Houston Rockets?
Like a goddamn glove. Like, I know they lost Luke Mamamute and they lost Trevor Reeves, but they need a wing, and they need a wing who can shoot. And as long as he doesn't go full-blown Joe Johnson on them, they'll be fine. Like, I think this is actually a really good fit for them. And it's weird that I'm saying that because he provided very little to no defense. His effort levels were down. He
Doesn't matter.
Diva-esque attitude.
They don't play defense in Houston, and according to Jabari Parker, no one gets paid for defense.
But they played really good defense. They're one of the best defensive teams in the league. But that doesn't matter, apparently. And he's right, though. No, people don't get paid for defense. That's why you got $20 million, and Andre Roberson's getting like 10, and Marcus Smart's getting like 11 or 12. So he's not wrong. Just tossing out there. He's not wrong.
We'll talk about that in the next one for sure, because I got some bulletin points there.
No, I think it's awesome. I think Melo coming here, it depends on the ego because, again, he's still playing third string. Like, you're still going with the James Harden, Chris Paul, and then you.
Yeah.
So we'll see where his ego's at, but I think he'll be happier. Did he like playing with Paul George and Brody? Yeah. But Chris Paul's his buddy.
Well, and that's why I know it's a little bit extreme. I know I was telling you about it, and you were like, what is he talking about? When Little Golick was basically he doesn't fit anywhere. And I'm like, I don't know if he doesn't fit anywhere. But the thing I think about with Carmelo is when you say, like, oh, fits like a glove.
Yep.
The first thought I have is, all right, are we hyping this up a little bit too much like we hyped the Thunder up last year? Because let's be honest, Thunder were a good team. They made the playoffs. We might have hyped the Thunder up a little bit too much. We thought they were going to be a better team than they were, especially seeding-wise.
I did not know that Andre Roberson would be dead.
Well, I know that's part of it, but
that's what sort of changed things.
One of the big negatives too was everyone harping on Melo, which is kind of easy when Roberson goes down.
Are you saying him fighting his coach on the sideline to get back into a game that they came back into because he was on the bench was a problem?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of a problem. And like that's where I feel like with this one is, like you said, can Melo take a back seat? Can he be a guy where it was Charles today on Get Up basically said, I can't remember what team he said he was on. I think it was the Clippers, where basically he was like, yeah, I was starting. And he's like, I just could tell that I was not helping the team in the starting lineup. And he's like, I remember going to the coach saying, dude, put the rook in. Like, put this young player in over me. I'll come off the bench because that's going to be better for the team. Can he do that? Kind of like what you mentioned with Dennis in the last segment. Can Melo put his ego aside? Can he put that pride aside and say, hey, you know what? This is where I am in my career. I'm transitioning into a different part. I'm not the same Melo that we saw in Denver. I'm not the same Melo we saw at the beginning of New York. I need to come to this Rocket team and help Chris Paul, help James Harden, not be the big guy on campus, the BMOC, basically. To
be fair, I think the biggest change for him, outside of locations, is going to be the fact that he's on a team with amazing spacing. One of the best basketball minds as far as offenses go is now in charge of him. He's going to get much better looks. He's going to have much better sets set up for him. And he's going to have the best point guard, like pure point guard, in Chris Paul hooking him up. And James Harden, no slouch either. So I think that honestly, we're going to see a resurgence of Melo.
Both of them are going to get assists to Melo, basically.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, we'll see how generous people are with assists, with how long Melo takes to dribble the ball himself, go ISO.
Maybe if Melo develops more of a spot-up shot, not a dribble shoot.
He's a good spot-up shooter, don't get me wrong.
Do that. Don't dribble around.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But I think, honestly, he's going to come back to what we're used to. I think he's, last year was his worst statistical year pretty much across the board. I think we're going to see roughly the same shooting numbers, 15 to 17 shots a game. But what we're going to see on the upside is his efficiency is going to go back up. heavily, I expect. I think he's going to be, again, about like a 19, 20-point scorer. I really do have high hopes for Melo. I think last year was a shitty season. He fell out of position. He didn't feel like he fit in. He was not the right puzzle piece. Square block, round hole.
I'm going to ask you this question because it just popped into my mind, and
Sure.
I know this is a very Colin Cowherd question, but I'll ask it to you anyways. If he goes to the Rockets and the Rockets play well and Melo's playing well, does that feud the fire of, oh, maybe it's Brody's the problem? No, he couldn't play with Brody, but he can play with Chris Paul and James Harden.
No, but
he
I
was
think
fine on the Rockets. Boo, the Thunder, he wasn't fine. I wonder why that is.
I mean, we've mentioned the horrible coaching on the Thunder for the last 3 years that we've been doing this show. So, no. We've also mentioned the fact that how is he going to fit ego-wise? I don't know. How's he going to fit next to his best friend now? And isn't it a little interesting that when given the option, he's not going to the Lakers?
I don't think LeBron wants him on the Lakers.
That's the question.
And that's an interesting
I'm surprised
thing.
that's not more of a story. That given the option,
they brought it up beforehand, like when the stretch provision was first being discussed. That like a lot of people were like, LeBron probably doesn't want Melo on the Lakers because it's interesting with them. I know this is away from the Rockets, but it's interesting with the Lakers how they're constructing their team. I know they got Be Easy today.
Yeah, I love it.
But LeBron, instead of going, hey, I'm going to get my buddies, he's bringing in Lance Stevenson, a guy he played against in the playoffs who he, to me, I'm going to assume, respects that and was like, hey, he can help this team. Oh, Rajon Rondo, another guy who played in the playoffs.
The smartest basketball mind alive right now. Yeah.
And with Melo, I just don't think that either Magic or LeBron want him in that because the last thing you want to do in that situation is add a guy like Melo who could blow the whole thing up, basically.
Yeah, no, you've already got like Melo, Light, and Kuzma. So like, why blow it for adding ego, the star, whatever. It's probably not worth it. But it's interesting that now that Melo has his pick of the litter, he's going to play in Houston.
Yeah, and I mean, out of the two choices that I heard, early on, it was either Miami or Houston.
Right.
And the reason why I think Houston is a better fit for Melo than Miami.
Team?
No, not just that.
Not just that. Okay.
It's not just that. Like, of course, the Rockets are going to be in the playoffs. The Heat will probably be in, but it's the East. I hate saying that.
That's literally our phrase of the season is it's the East.
LeBron
I hope you guys
left,
get used
so
to that.
It's wide open. It's wide open.
Get used to this shit. It's all season.
It's going to be all season, not LeBron's gone. But basically, the thing that I think is why the Rockets are a better fit for him personally is because Pat Riley is a guy that don't take no shit. And Pat Riley is a guy that's basically like, hey, you're going to be on this team. It might not be Chip Kelly levels of obsession, but it's basically, hey, you're on this team. You're going to eat right. You're going to take care of your body right, which throughout his career, it has been documented that Melo might not be the main guy for, hey, I keep my body right and know exactly. No, he knows what's going in, but it might not be the best thing when you're eating cereal and Big Macs during your career before games for pregame.
Hey, man, we had people like who you had to hide bags of gummy worms from the locker room. So, like, I'm not judging.
I mean, let's be honest. Chad Ochocinco, when he was on the Patriots, he's like, yeah, I'm going to run a 40, eats a McDouble, runs a 40. He goes, doesn't matter. I'm just going to work it off, right?
Exactly. I mean, if you go back to the 90s, people would literally be smoking in the locker room before games, during halftime.
Such a different time. Such a different time when you can actually smoke inside a building.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
But, like, going back to Melo on the Rockets, to me, one of the things with the Rockets side of it that I wonder is, you mentioned it, they lose guys like Trevor Ariza, like Maamute.
Some defensive stoppers.
Exactly. Can Melo, not saying on the defensive side, but can Melo's presence outweigh, I know it's 2 against 1, but outweigh the losses of those two players? That's my worry for the Rockets, where I don't think the Rockets are going to take a dip and be like how some have said, like, oh, they might be 4th in the West. No, get out of here. They're going to be a top 2 team in the West. The only thing I think changes is, depending on how serious the Warriors play in the regular season, that the Warriors might retake number 1 in the West and the Rockets fall to number 2.
Yeah, I could see the Rockets being a 2 or a 3 at the worst, but
if they're a 3, who's the 2? Is it the Thunder?
I don't know. Yeah, that's TBD.
It's either the Thunder or the Lakers.
It's not the Lakers. I don't want to leak that to it. I'm thinking the Thunder could do it if they all stay healthy. That could be dirty. But No, I mean, you look at that roster, and it's just like, it's hard to see Chris Paul, James Harden, PJ Tucker, and Clint Capella. You add in someone like Carmelo Anthony. You still have the like regular season, 3-point shooting from Ryan Anderson. I know he can't be played in the playoffs, but at least during the regular season, he is an asset to have out there. Still got Eric Gordon coming off the bench. D'Anthony Melton, Summer League steal. I'm just calling that. I mean, we loved him. And
coming
they didn't
out
give
of
him
USC.
up. Yep. Just because that year off, they're like, no, we don't want to touch him. Smart move. Joe Green, again, bench scoring. Like, they've got a good team. I feel like they have the code. Like, now that the Warriors added like,
if only
it's just not fair because
they would have been in the finals if only they said, "Hey, you know what? We're not knocking down threes. Let's take a few steps in. Knock down a few twos. You're in that finals."
Don't even like the Houston. I'm sorry you said that out loud.
Like, it's true though, is it not? Like,
they ran into the worst, most impossible streak ever.
So step in and
happening.
take some twos then.
Yeah,
get some points on the board.
They did a couple times. They should have done it more, and that's the thing.
And that's what I'm saying. I'll do it a little more. I know I'm going on the full joke side of it, but I mean,
no, I'm angry that you're even saying a lot because to miss that many shots in a row is a statistical anomaly.
Opening up that old one,
and the fact that they did hit a shot and they got waved off, even knowing it was about to be a 4-point play. Whoo, that reffing.
And that's where I feel like there's also people out there saying like, oh, Melo's going to add some good mid-range to where if that does happen, it's like, if that happens again, it's not going to be like, oh, let's go to Melo in the mid-range. To
be fair, that was the backup plan for the Warriors with Kevin Durant was pace and space isn't working, mid-range Kevin Durant, ISO game.
Let's just have him go to the elbow, and whenever he took that shot from the elbow, it went in. Even in the finals.
The walk-up three is just the most goddamn infuriating thing in the world.
Twice in a row, man.
But
from the same spot.
That's why I'm saying you should never undervalue the ability to have one guy on your team go full ISO because if you have the better player, leverage that at times. I agree that they're better off when the ball is moving. When people are getting motion and looking for open shots, and that fucking pick and roll game with Capella is like, it's gold, and it worked for them so much. So I think this is a team that absolutely, adding Melo in, goes right back. They're right back in it, and I think that, yes, they lose some defense, but on the other hand, it's like, I forget who I was listening to today, compared to like a lottery ticket. It's like, the upside's there. The upside's clearly there, and he's not going to cost you anything.
Do you want to basically...
So take it. Just do it. I mean, there's very little downside. If he comes to locker room distraction and hates people and whatever, like goes completely off the edge, you can just cut him.
To me, the linchpin that can be pulled and kind of, or the Jenga piece that can be pulled and knock down the Rocket Tower is not Melo. Like, I don't think Melo comes into this team and basically is like a volatile person in the locker room.
I think we see a little hoodie Melo resurgence.
Like
I asked for last
basically, the linchpin is Chris Paul.
Yeah.
He gets injured, they're done. And guess what? He's going to get injured in the postseason again this year.
Don't you put that juju on him.
I'm predicting it again. Like, that's the only reason why right now, like, I started going through a soft, like, what could our... Because I am all for... I can't wait for our season prediction podcast. Yeah. I've already... Like, you look at our spreadsheet we have, I got both of them all the way down to the finals, and I keep changing it every day. I keep looking at it every day. I'm that obsessed with it.
Are you telling me that Marco Carter-Williams is not a viable backup to Chris Paul?
Couldn't even say it with his... I couldn't even keep a straight face with you saying that.
Oh, my God.
With you saying that. But, I mean...
I think he loses that job to the Anthony Melton.
The thing is, like, right now I see the Rockets as a team where they're going... Like, I could see them either Western Conference Finals, you get bounced, that's the best.
Yep.
Or I could see them getting bounced in the second round, depending on who they match up against. And the thing I want to ask you, because we haven't talked about it on a podcast, and I want to get your thoughts about it.
Yeah.
The Chris Paul contract. Did they give him too much, or was it like, hey, you know what, we have to give him this. There's no choice. We can't say, no, we're not going to give you the Supermax. What are your thoughts on that contract with CP3, and how is that going to affect the Rockets?
Do you realize in 2021, Chris Paul will be making $44 million? James Harden will be making $43 million.
And you want to know who Chris Paul can thank? Himself.
Yeah. The man's a businesman.
This is the entire reason they set that age limit for the
people, $88 million tied up just between two people. So that's going to be interesting. I think they had to do it. I think their hands are tied. I don't think they had an option. Do I think Chris Paul has deserved it in his career? Yes. Do I think that at the end he will be a $44 million player? No. I don't think anyone
makes
does.
It to that. If he gets injured 2 straight years, like...
Yeah, at 36, we'll see. Like that's scary. That's when you really are going to be in trouble. And if his consistent injuries add up, you're right. We could see him, sadly, not being able to play at that point. But
could you imagine that 2021 salary basically being like, well, you're this old, we can't trot you out there, stretch provision?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to get to a weird place with salary cap in 2020, 2021, when people are making $40+ million, and it's going to be a weird place in the NBA. But no, he deserves it. I don't want to compare it to the Kobe contract because that was a legacy. That was you've been a Laker for your career. We're going to make sure you end it right. We're going to make sure we give you that respect. And we're not exactly looking to win.
Yeah.
But this right now says that we want to win now and we'll do anything to ensure that you stay here.
This was more of the lottery ticket to me than Melo would be.
How is this a lot? You had to pay $44 million to a 36-year-old.
No.
If this goes...
The reason why I'm saying this is the lottery ticket is because if you look at this past year... Rocket fans, the Rocket organization, everyone that loves Houston was all saying at the same time, if CP3 didn't get hurt, we'd be in the finals.
Yeah.
Like, not even looking at that heroic or that historic streak
display
that they
shooting.
went through with the three-point shooting, but every Rocket fan, if CP3 was healthy, we win that last game. We go to the finals instead
I don't even
of
know if it goes to 7.
The Warriors. Yeah. Exactly. It might not even go to 7 if he's healthy. So to me, it's like, all right, you're basically rolling the dice and playing that lottery ticket a
lottery ticket is like $5 for millions of dollars. That's what Carmelo Anthony is going to be for them.
And
he is millions of dollars for a championship, which is not a lottery. That's not even close. Lottery's the wrong word.
This is more like you're placing for this season a $35.6 million bet on CP3.
Yeah.
Is that going to come to like if it comes to fruition, you're going to the finals, he doesn't get hurt, he helps you win. Otherwise, that's probably the better analogy. Or you lose that bet. And it's like, great, he got injured again. We got bounced.
You bet on a guy who's now on the decline of his career.
It's
injury
more of a
prone.
Gamble is what.
It's
that's
a gamble.
Probably what I'm saying.
Yeah, lottery ticket, total different. No. Gamble.
I mean, lottery ticket gambling. It's still in the same ballpark, but a little different.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like 33, multiple injuries in his career. Never been able to stay healthy when he needs to be. So, I don't know. I think he's going to be okay. I think Melo's going to be a good add. I think that the environment is just right for Carmelo Anthony to be on that team at this time in his career. I think it's almost a perfect fit. We'll see if he shits the bed. Like, if he does it again this year, there's no excuse. Like, there's no saving Carmelo Anthony. But if he performs well, then what do you do? It'll be interesting.
Give me this. This is an early kind of soft prediction, not hold you to it. Melo comes to the Rockets.
Yep.
Where do they finish in the West, and how far do they go?
I got them 2 in the Western Conference Finals, and I think honestly that one will be dependent on where Boogie's at. If Boogie's healthy and Boogie's rocking, I'm
Warriors
terrified.
Team's going to be impossible to beat.
I'm terrified of that Warriors team. There's nothing like. You could put the Eastern Conference.
It got better.
You could put the Eastern Conference All-Stars against them, and they would lose. So even that's even with Kawhi now in the Eastern Conference. Like that's just eat the L.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, I feel like I almost feel the same thing. Rockets are going to be second in the West behind the Warriors. I'm going to say either Western Conference Finals or second round bounce.
Who do you think can knock them out with a healthy, happy Carmelo Anthony?
With a happy, healthy Carmelo Anthony?
Yep. Who would knock him out in the second round?
Do you want me to give away what I have right now? Because it's a shocker.
You know what? No. Let's save the teaser. Let's save the teaser.
I'll tell you after we're done recording, but that's what I want to save for our predictions because it's a shocker and people are going to get mad at me for that one. That's
honestly,
why I didn't want to say it.
I like this Rockets team. I like Melo going there. I think this is going to be a ton of fun. And I think that, minus What if the Warriors have an injury? Then we look at this real close.
What if Steph Curry goes down? Oh, wait, they have Kevin
He does
Durant.
every single year. It seems
It doesn't matter. They'll still beat like the Nuggets in the first round.
We'll see. We'll
Oh,
see.
no, they'll still beat the Blazers because the Blazers can't win a playoff game.
I want like PJ Tucker to go all Tanya Harding on Steph Curry.
Here's a question I want to ask you, and this is from Damascus asked me. This is have nothing to do with the Rockets, kind of a segue before we go into the Bulls.
Sure.
Damascus asked me on Twitter, you know, we just saw the Kawhi trade go through.
Yeah.
Who do you think is the next superstar to get traded? I said Dame or Kemba.
I mean, I think Kemba's going to stay this year. I think I could see. I mean, do you count CJ as a star?
The only reason I said Dame is because of everything that came out recently with him not being happy with air quotes.
Yeah, I mean, I could see either one of those guys. Like the four guys we always compare is Dame, CJ, and Beal and Wall.
Yeah.
Like I could see one of those guys getting.
But
moved.
hey, now Dwight's in Washington, so he's going to be the glue between those
I like
guys.
the fact that we talked about how Dennis got into a fight with Dwight, and my first thought was like, who hasn't? Just who hasn't at this point? It's play anyone on the team he's played with. But no, I think it could be one of those because honestly, I'm just going to take a look at the All-Star game and throw a dart at the wall. I was reading on Reddit, there was like some article that said
16 All-Stars in like the last, 4 years are now on different teams?
Yeah.
16 of like 18 All-Stars, I think?
16, 18 or 16 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a scary number. It's almost like total. So I'm going to just throw a dart at the wall at that point.
Well, this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you think down below in that comment section. How does Melo fit with the Rockets? How far do you think they'll go with him? Because I'm still, to me, the one worry I have is that, oh, Melo's going to be on the Rockets. They're really better. And we hype them up, and it's not what we were expecting.
Yeah.
I know Roberson got injured.
Yeah.
That's a big piece. But the Paul George, Melo, Brody relationship didn't mesh exactly as we thought it would in the preseason last year. So that's really one of the only qualms or worries I have about Melo coming to the Rockets. But let us know what you guys think down below in that comment section.